We are 1 week away from the start of what is a hotly anticipated series, the India versus England Test Series. Of course, pitting India aside, who are very, very good in home conditions, against baseball era England, a side who will always play fearlessly, always look to dominate, always look to express themselves and take that style to the extreme sometimes. Now, obviously, it's going to be an interesting style of clashes, or rather clash of styles, but what is not to be, let's say, ignored by any stretch is the fact that baseball England will not be playing in anything close to the kind of conditions they're used to at home. At home, more often than not, you'll see pitches ease out. You will get swing early on, but as the days go by, they will tend to ease out. In India, in recent times, you've seen more often than not that you're getting very spin-friendly tracks that will be turning square from day one itself. Now, whilst a lot of teams and a lot of media, specifically from certain countries, will complain about this, the fact of the matter is you don't normally see teams now come unprepared for this anymore. In fact, England were the last team to beat India in a home test series all the way back in 2012-13, and it came about thanks in no small part to very good contributions from Graham Swan and Monty Panesar, two spinners. This time around, they've come with 4 full-time spinners in the squad, and if you listen to what James Anderson has to say, you best believe that they are going to be using these spinners as much as possible. In fact, he's hinted at a rather interesting role for spinners to play, one that does deviate, let's say, from how it is you'd conventionally use spinners in Test cricket, even in the subcontinental conditions. Beyond that, he's also spoken about the kind of role the seamers would have to play and where it is they would come into play the most, as well as he's spoken about, once again, that dreaded R word. No, not Ashwin, but retirement. Again, James Anderson definitely on the wrong side of 40, you would think, but still going strong in Test cricket, and he's just that as well. So without further ado, let's take a look at what exactly it is that Anderson has spoken about, and we'll start with, of course, the way that England plans to employ their spinners against India. Anderson, in an interview with the Telegraph newspaper in England, said that there might be occasions where we don't open with a seamer. We might open with 2 spinners. That is the challenge of playing in India. Now, again, it's worth noting that it has happened in the past that even India have sometimes started out very early with spinners because such is the nature of the track. But it goes against the very antithesis of how it is you play Test cricket in Sena nations. Because again, in the Sena countries, more often than not, you'll always start off with the seamers because the ball will be swinging early on. You might even get good bounce. And of course, the pitch will ease out as the days go by. But England know what exactly it is they're getting, and Anderson's very clearly revealed that there are going to be occasions where we won't even be starting off with our seamers. We'll start off with our spinners and then take it from there. So then what exactly is the role of the seamers? Because again, England's biggest strength is, of course, their seam bowling and pace bowling. Their spinners, I mean, of all the spinners they're carrying, 2 are relatively new, and one is a very fine prospect, but one of whom actually is still very, very young in like a Rehan Ahmed. So they aren't exactly top class spinners that are brimming from their squad. Their biggest strength will still be their bowling lineup, and you would expect that their seamers would come into play somehow, some way. And the answer is, as you would expect, reverse swing. Anderson said that reverse swing will play a big part. Your role, that is the role as a seamer, changes a huge amount. Then you come on as the 3rd or 4th change with set batsmen in. And he's right in saying that the role is in fact from how it is you would normally expect seamers to play in Test, particularly in England. In England, you know for a fact if the ball is new, if it's the start of the innings, you throw the ball to James Anderson and let him do the rest. Here though, he'll have to be coming on as the 3rd change, as he said, the 3rd change or 4th change bowler potentially, and then his role changes because at that point the ball is not going to be swinging. Any early swing that you could be having is potentially gone, and as he said, the big ploy will be to get the ball roughed up enough that in the latter part of that ball's life you are getting reverse swing. And it is worth noting that Jimmy Anderson has used reverse swing to pretty devastating effect even recently. You remember in 2023, or rather 2022-23, when England had toured Pakistan for a Test series. There, Jimmy Anderson had plenty of success, not with the new ball, but by getting the ball to reverse swing. So that exactly is how his plan, or what his plan is going to be in this particular series. But again, as much as any connoisseur of Test cricket, any purist or romantic of the game enjoys watching a Jimmy Anderson, there's always that big question looming over your head. When exactly is it going to be his last tour? I mean, with Anderson, you can see that, he's lost more than 10 Ks of pace in recent times, but he remains as effective and impactful as ever at getting the ball to swing and thus getting wickets. And to make things even funnier, the man whom he mentored and then made his Test new ball partner in Stuart Broad has called it time, but Anderson, who made his debut well before Stuart Broad did, is still going very, very strong. So what exactly are his retirement plans? To put it politely, there aren't that many. As he says, I still feel like I've got a lot to offer this team. I would not still be doing what I'm doing if I didn't feel like that. And that is a pretty big statement, because again, you would think that of all tours that you would want to be taking a Jimmy Anderson to, an India tour would probably be the last one, due to, of course, the nature of the pitches you're going to get. You're going to be getting slow, low turners. You're not going to be getting pitches that are conducive to his skill set. In fact, the best chance you have of getting pitches of his skill set would be to play him at home. It's similar to what England do with Chris Woakes, who's a very effective bowler in home conditions, but gets less and less effective the further he goes from home. You think that they could do a similar thing for Anderson and potentially prolong his career, but as Anderson says, he still feels like he's got a lot to offer to this team. And in fact, it doesn't just come from what he can contribute on the field. He revealed in the interview that it's not just about what he can contribute with the ball, but also about passing on wisdom to the newer generation. And of course, there will be a huge transition once Anderson does eventually choose to retire, because again, Stuart Broad retired only last year. Anderson, once he goes, it will leave a huge void. And yes, with England, the talent pool will keep churning out good players, but it is a monumental task to be able to replace an Anderson and a Broad that effortlessly. So you will see a little bit of a transition period where the team might struggle. In that sense, that's perhaps why James Anderson said, I still have plenty to offer. What are your thoughts on this entire matter? Do you agree with Anderson's assessment that maybe England should perhaps open the bowling with spinners on some day? How long do you think he could potentially see him playing? Well, you can let us know the answers to those questions in the comments below, and don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel, tap the bell icon, follow us on Instagram, Twitter and Facebook. Don't forget to download the AajTak app, and if you're already on the channel, well, then go right ahead, check out some other videos we've done as well. For now though, from my side, it's goodbye.